CHMA, broadcasting from Sackville to Brunswick, Canada. You're listening either on 106.9 FM in the Tantramar area or at www.chmafm.com.
So fast. And you didn't say hello. You didn't open with a big...
Oh, no. I didn't. Hello.
Good evening.
Yeah, we're doing a weird thing tonight, eh?
Well, yeah, we're using telephones to make radio?
Yeah, and
we're using telephones through the internet to make radio?
Yeah, there's a lot of technology going on, and I can't see you. It's weirder. We usually have really easy back and forth, and we can talk to each other and use visual cues, but now it's just like you're just waiting for me to stop talking.
Pretty much. I'll interrupt you anyway.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah, but unfortunately, as you know, I have to be away from the airport this week for additional training.
Yes, exactly. That's That's what happens. Every good profession has professional development, and we all need to get our hours in, right? So
yeah, and we know the workload. Now that float planes are going to start coming into the Midgic airport.
Is that right? Oh, I'm glad you're on that, PD, because I certainly am not.
Let me tell you.
You know a lot more about float planes now. This is ground control at YMC Midgic Airport. If you didn't know, we're an airport. You're joining myself, air traffic controller Thomas.
And me, air traffic controller Luke.
And Jonas for the next hours. We watch the skies. Definitely don't talk about planes. Listen to some tunes. Chat will be done by and by. If you want to listen to some tunes, not tunes. Tunes stay here. If you want to listen to some planes, there's a show for that.
I could talk a bit about planes. I like planes.
Are you on the plane show? What's the plane show called again?
Oh, it's I shouted them out a couple weeks ago too. It's the Aviation Society.
There it is. Yeah,
on Friday afternoons.
Yeah,
oh, gosh, I should know it.
On
Friday, they talk about actual plane stuff.
Yeah, exactly. If you want to know about plane stuff, check out Friday afternoons. If you want to hear two doofs talk about doof stuff,
sometimes three.
Yeah, it's true. Dan's been on before.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were referring to the pilots to be as goofs or doofs.
That's true. They're doofs and goofs as well. And sometimes we also have had air traffic controller Archie and air traffic controller Wolf on, and they're both doofs and goofs. Hey, weather. Yeah. It's been a weathering week here in the Maritimes.
Remember last week when I'm pretty sure I said that the weather was going to continue weathering in a messy fashion?
Yeah, and then it did. It did all the things all the time.
Yeah. So I don't really know what's going to happen. Folks, this is the point we tell you we're not only are we not in the same place, but we are pre-recording live on Friday evening.
Yeah, this is I think Friday the latest evening, right? We've ever recorded too.
Yeah, we're pushing it here.
It's like it is straight up my bedtime at this point. I don't want to embarrassingly say how early in the evening it is.
Well, listen, people don't need to know.
No,
it's obscenely late. It's dark out.
It's spring, summer, right? The days are long, and it is dark. So I think that is 100% okay for sleeping. Yeah, pre-recorded live. We got some weather. What do you think's happening this week going up?
You know what? I'm going to throw what's that? A softball? What do you do when what am I looking for? The baseball analogy here?
Yeah, the softball. You had it.
Okay, I'm going to throw a softball to the maple syrup producers.
Oh, yeah.
They need the cool nights and the warm days, so
that's what we're hoping for.
We'll give them another week of that so we can pump out some maple syrup so everyone can fill their.
It's so funny. I love that you're always on the beat of what season, hay season, maple season, whatever season it is. You
just got to look outside the airport here and see what kind of farm equipment's going by.
That's
this
true.
Time of year, it's people coming from their maple stands. You know? You can look way off in the distance at night and see the evaporators going.
That's true.
At least I assume it's that, and not some stills in operation.
Ooh, maybe stills, maybe aliens. Have you thought about that?
I think as professional air traffic controllers, if alien ships were coming in and leaving, we'd probably know about it.
Well, we'd know about it, but would we tell the public? That's the question, isn't it? Another question. Another question is: do you want to listen to some tunes?
Oh, heck yeah!
So I don't have. There's one CD on the tune rack, and it's from you.
Oh
And-
yeah, because they're from St. John, and
Yes.
I know you still have some ties there.
I have one or
I'll
two
admit,
ties.
it's a bit of a rowdy tune for Sunday evening.
I'm fine with that.
It's it's maritime kitchen party-esque vibes about it.
That's what we're here for.
It's by a band called The Last Call.
Mm.
It's Wine Bottles, I think is the tune we're going to listen.
Wine Bottles by The Last Call. And we'll have another tune after that. We're going to have a couple tunes, and then we'll bring you back into some sports.
All right.
Okay.
When did time get lost? The kids are grown up, we have not gotten better with our age. Like fine wine, keep you close to me. There's bottles for occasion, broken, rearrange them. I swear we are still around. So crack it open, the 30-year hidden in the floorboard, we kept it near. We've reminisced about later nights of the past with no end in sight. There's bottles for occasion, broken, rearrange them. I swear we'll still be around. That bottle, gossip from with every drink. We often fantasize how we got away. Less and less, we seek more. We seem to find another drink, babe. It's got a lot to say. Friends moved on, couples stayed. We see it all. Those old days, babe, it's got a lot to say.
Stumble every time you do it. Ain't never gonna get used to it. Hanging on a garden rose. Some tain't the way that my love grows. Oh Lord, I didn't see it coming. Arcadia's got me running. Just trying not to lose my breath. 'Cause hell, I'm gonna take that step.
And though my pride is gone way down the line, well, I'm just fine. My luck is all that I have today. Well, it's no wonder that you found me buried underneath my weight. Well, would still sing little red pills, maybe all that hold me up. But you pulled the blinds, and this room of mine is just a little bit brighter since you came. Oh, I stumble every time you do it. Ain't never gonna get used to it. Hanging on a garden rose, untamed the way that my love grows. Oh Lord, I didn't see it coming. Arcadia's got me running, just trying not to lose my breath, 'cause hell, I wanna take that step. Seep up all the light from the bottom of the spine. Don't fret, don't hang your head, 'cause I'm just fine. One day, all that I had to give, and it will be sitting at your doorstep, waiting just to come on in. Oh, 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 oh. Cold rooms and burning flumes, will they have left me up? Just a little bit lesser than I am, than I am going to be. Oh, I stumble every time you do it. Ain't never gonna get used
Doodly doodly sports ball.
Have you started making little jingles in your mind for every one of our segments?
Well, the thing is, I've
Without
started
bridge news to bring it together.
I've started singing a lot more jingles in my life simply because of air traffic controller baby. And I don't know if I've said his name on air, and I feel like even if I have, I'm not going to right now. Anyway, air traffic controller baby, he needs a lot of songs.
Jingling?
Yeah, so pretty much all day I'm just like singing random words to him, and I'm getting really, really comfortable just rattling off little jingles in my head and singing them out loud. So it's kind of like a, it's just what I gotta do to get through the day.
Yeah.
So comes out on the radio a little bit sometimes. Hey,
Sneaks up on you. What's going on in the world of sports ball?
I got a big sports ball thing.
Really? You're going to talk about the stock outboard nationals in Jessup, Georgia?
That's exactly what I'm going to talk about. But would you like to give me a little synopsis before I get into like the meat of it?
What? You're not actually talking about that.
No, absolutely not. No. I'm just trying to set you up.
Oh, you want a synopsis of what was going on there?
Yeah. I'm trying to set you up so you can talk about it.
Oh, for racing of plywood boats.
Yes.
Small motors. It's the kind of the first East Coast event of the season. So I think it's ongoing as we're recording this through when this airs. So
I have a question. Because you have recently, I won't say recently, but last we talked, I believe, about plywood boat racing.
Yes.
I learned that on the West Coast, it seems that there might be longer form races than on the East Coast. And since then, I was wondering, do they have those shorter form races on the West Coast, or are they like kind of exclusively the longer form races?
So there's a mix. So there's basically two West Coast hotbeds for boat racing, at least of the type that I follow.
Sure.
And sometimes participate in.
Yeah.
So like your hydroplane and runabout, small single seater, usually race boats. You'd either do that around Seattle.
Yeah.
And Seattle has actually a really long history with the bigger ones, like all the way up to the turbine powered, what they call like an unlimited, 300-kilometer-an-hour race boat.
That's a lot on land.
Well, that's the thing. It's mostly airplane.
Yeah, at that point, isn't it?
Your propeller's been moved from the air to the water. And that's why you'll find it in Seattle, actually, because there's a lot of there's a lot of aviation industry ties there.
Interesting.
So there's some that's from my understanding where those kind of tie over, where those links happen, how they get the people required to kind of run those super specialty. Yeah. They're, like I say, they're running helicopter turbines in boats that don't touch the water. So you would have that, and then you'd have California because the weather. The
weather and the just sheer amount of people. There's more people in California than there is in Canada.
Yeah, exactly. So there's not as active as it used to be because it's not a popular sport, but still things happening down there.
Now, on the flip side, are there any long form races on the East Coast? I know you've said there's one kind of central Canada.
So in Canada, there would be no generally people that they do this as a sprint race. So you're on the water for somewhere between 10 and let's call it 10 minutes.
Sure.
And of that, you might be racing for 7. You'll have a kilometer and a half to a 2-kilometer oval set up, and you'll do 3 to 4 laps. Yeah. And that's it. And that's kind of what most of the equipment is set up to run. They only like turning left. That's what they do. And that's how I got started in it. Yeah. And then someone was like, hey, we're doing a 20-minute marathon, they call it, which 20 minutes is kind of like the minimum time frame you would need to meet the marathon definition.
Sure.
So that there are a few on the East Coast, what they would call closed course marathons.
Mm-hmm.
So these are marathons run in smaller lakes or like a fully controlled body of water.
Yeah.
So the one I'm going to do in Maine in 6 weeks, they basically make a zigzag course through a lake.
Yes.
And you're
wow, that's 6 weeks from now.
I'm very prepared.
Jeepers. Because I remember you talking
97.
about this last year.
Yeah, it sneaks right up on you.
Yeah, doesn't it? Time's crazy.
Yeah, time is silly. So yeah, it's good. It'll be an event. I'll hopefully participate in 2 of these 20-minute ones over the weekend, and then, like I say, along the East Coast, there would be several more of this. But these are all kind of qualifying events for the one central race that happens in Upper Michigan in August, which is something in the neighborhood of 70 kilometers that you run one day and 70 kilometers that you run the second day.
And since I'm Canadian, can you put kilometers into hours? Not kilometers per hours, but only into hours. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a tough one. I guess it would be like going to Moncton and back on the highway for you.
Okay, yeah, totally.
It would be a pretty reasonable approximation.
Yeah. Little drive to St. John.
No, not that far.
A little bit less than that.
Yeah, less than that.
A little drive to
Maybe
Hampton.
Drive up to Sussex.
Sussex, okay. Yeah.
Anyway, actually, might not even be all that far. Anyway, ultimately, it's like that. That is the one. What they, it is not a closed course marathon. It is a marathon where they start you in a lake and run you through a series of different rivers and different lakes.
Yes.
Until you reach a midway point and then have to, return from it. And, people spend anywhere from 50 minutes to an hour and a half in the boat completing each leg. 1.5. So, yeah, it's pretty wild.
I like it.
Pretty punishing physically from what I've been told.
I can believe it.
I think in the history of Atlantic Canada, at least in the last 30 years, like there is one person from Atlantic Canada who's completed it.
Is their last name Crothers?
No.
That's surprising.
No, they
to be honest.
give it out to the Mackenzies out of Halifax, Nova Scotia.
There you go. Sports ball, though. I was actually going to talk about sport with a ball.
Oh, which one?
Because basketball.
Pickle?
Oh no, we're going to get into pickleball. We've been talking about that for a bit. When we get some time, we're gonna start killing on the pickleball courts. The Toronto Raptors. Have you heard of them?
Yes, they're the part of the International Basketball Association.
That's right. The IBA. And they finished their season with a 25-57 record.
That's not fantastic.
Losing over 2/3 of your games, you're not like jazzed about that. It is the 4th worst record in franchise history, and that's including like when you're a brand new franchise, like you start off rough
there for a minute.
Yeah. Of course, they're not going to make the playoffs. They're not even going to make the play-in tournament where like crap teams can potentially kind of steal a spot. Yeah. The team did have a lot of injuries over this year, including, top stars, Scotty Barnes, who we've talked about a lot, Emmanuel Quickley, and just general injuries from maybe not the top stars but from like big role players who take on anywhere between 15 to 20 minutes out of 48 minutes on the court. Including Bruce Brown, Kelly Olynyk, RJ Barrett. So it's a season where both we traded a lot to get young stars to develop them. But also
this was the development year.
This was a development year, but it was also a year that we really got injury plagued. And honestly, if you're going to get injury plagued in a development year, it's a lot better to do it than in a potential championship run year. There's a lot of Raptors fans right now that are unsatisfied, and I'm not particularly sure why, because this is what I've wanted. I remember even on this show talking about, like, I hate where we were a year ago, where we were right in the middle. I either want to be developing or winning. And right now we're developing, and people are like, oh, we should have lost more to get a better draft pick, or we should have focused more on winning, because one of the big things this year was particularly Darko Rajakovic, our new head coach, and the team in general did so poorly in the fourth quarter. We were a team that was looked at as tank commanders, as a team specifically trying to tank to get better draft odds, even though
that's a thing.
Oh yeah, especially in the NBA, the further down in the pecking order you are, like if you're the worst team in the league, and it's a little bit changed now, but it used to be you had a 25% chance of getting the top pick. I think it's down to like 11% for the bottom team. But still, the lower you are, the higher
your odds
for getting the first pick. In some draft years, it doesn't matter as much. But I'm sure you've heard me talk about Victor Wembanyama. He just finished his second year playing. Before his rookie year, there were a lot of tanking teams because he is 7'4", 7'5", and plays like a guard, like shoots threes.
Quite a tall fellow.
He's kind of tall, but
also, are you telling me someone tall just wants to sit back and shoot threes?
Yes. Well, no. What I'm telling you is he doesn't just sit back and shoot threes. But what I am telling you is he moves like a 6 foot, no, maybe not 6 foot, but like a 6'5" guard would, with an extra foot of length on top of him. So everyone wanted him, so everyone tanked. It's happening again this year. There's a big prospect named Cooper Flagg. There's another one, Ace Bailey. So teams, it's a very strong draft year. So a lot of teams are looking for their next superstar to revitalize their team. And one way to do that is to potentially tank. And there's a lot of ways to do that ethically, like sitting some of your star players during the fourth quarter, which a lot of teams, including the Raptors, were.
So you say ethically, but like, who's gonna? I don't know.
I know, right? Like, I am always like, hey, you should be
Feels
going
like
out.
a grayscale thing here of
Like you should be going out to play and win is kind of my thing. But also, if you're in a developmental year, why put Scotty Barnes out there for 40 minutes on the court when you can put out some of these new talents and they're going out there and playing against, LeBron James and some of the greatest players of all time, and they're getting that experience? Is that really super bad when we had zero chance of winning this year in general, right?
All right. I can see your point.
Yeah, and like we have a new point guard, like Emmanuel Quickly. We brought in a trade, then we gave him a big contract last season, $30 million a year. But in this
I would have done it
process,
for half that.
you know what? I would have done it for honestly $1 million a year. I would have done it.
Wow.
Yeah, I know, right? I'm very humble.
Don't sell yourself short.
But we had another point guard, rookie Jamal Sheed, who came out and like really balled out all year, and he's probably going to be a prospect that we keep long term. And his contract right now is literally like $1.5 million a year. So if we have a point guard worth $30 million a year, and don't get me wrong, Manuel Quickly's good, but we have an equal point guard at $1.5, $2 million a year. you know, and developing those skills on the court right now while we're not doing super well, that's a win-win to me. Anyway, a lot of people are saying it's kind of a bust season. They wanted Scotty Barnes to develop more, but like, you know, it's hard to really get a good sense of how well a player's developed when they're on a 20 win, 60 loss season. So all that to say, I'm still excited I might be one of the few Raptors fans that have enjoyed this entire season and still excited to go forward and see what the Raptors are doing. But I think the Raptors are on the right track. I think Darko Rajakovic, although they didn't make a lot of fourth quarter adjustments, is doing very good at developing them as a team. And we might see in the next few years upcoming that, you know, when it comes to fourth quarters, Darko kind of, you know, pulls the reins in a little bit more when we do have a more robust team to kind of win those tight games where this year we didn't really need to. I'm excited for the future, and I think that's a good thing.
There you go. I'm happy for you, and I also, during this conversation, have been wondering to myself that if we could shrink you down to the size of a rat and place you on my head in a Ratatouille type situation.
Yes.
Like, because the regular listeners will have heard me reference playing basketball.
Yes. Yeah.
But I know nothing about basketball.
Sure. Yes.
So, like, and I play against the people, and I'm like always in awe of the people with like good understanding
basketball
of, like,
IQ
play and stuff.
Yeah.
Which I don't have. So it's like maybe we need to find some mind control. And,
but put the minds together to figure this out. Yeah. I'm down for that. You know.
All right.
Honestly, I keep thinking like, just get us both on the court. I need to get a little bit more comfortable moving around, and I'm just going to set picks for you. And I think we could kill it.
Yeah.
I'm pretty big. I'm pretty big.
Yeah, it's the classic sports and comedy duo. You know?
Really.
You get the big guy and the small guy,
and like
it can work.
There's people taller than me that you play against, but there ain't no one bigger than me on that court. You know?
They'd struggle to move you.
I'm a big boy.
This is probably a lot more practical than my Ratatouille style.
Just to be setting picks.
Control.
Yeah, just let me stroll up and set a pick for you, dude. Like, they're gonna have to take a big step around me to get around me, right? And they ain't going through me, so
there you go.
Oh, hey, let's listen to a couple tunes.
Throw a couple tunes up there.
Woo!
Where does the time go when you're all alone? Don't I feel like space and time are all but one? Like a dog on a poach, can just chill all night. Ever think he wonders what's wrong or right? Saratoga rain. vapor. We won't worry about the ozone going away. Crank up the speakers, wake up the neighbors, drown in our drinks while we push up the faders. It's only midnight on Wednesday night. Let the credits roll, this is our movie. Turn on the bright lights, let everyone see. Let the credits roll over all this beauty. Let the credits roll, let the credits roll. And we ran to the woods, escaped the traffic, climbed up the trees and let the hours pass us. We won't worry about the oceans rising in day. We rode through the rain into the traffic.
All right.
Julie,
There's
Julie.
like-
What?
I think I didn't realize you were going to do a news intro.
I'm
as
definitely
well.
keeping all of this in. Yeah, I was going to do a diddly diddly bridge news.
Oh, were you?
Well, yeah. Well, is there any diddly diddly bridge news?
Well, I wasn't. I think they haven't really made any progress on the bridge up over by the
Right? Like,
Jimmy's just
I
yet.
feel like there's been like 2 weeks of the bridge having like the pylons out, but there's
Detour in
been
place.
yeah,
and,
there's been 0 days of me seeing anyone working there, and that just might be I don't go to that bridge a ton, admittedly. But
well, I drive through it on my commute to the airport, and let me tell you, other than this morning when a wide load with escorts was coming up the on ramp there,
mhm.
because I don't think you'd get through that detour with anything cumbersome.
Yeah, fair. Yeah,
No, I haven't really seen anything going on there.
no.
But I was excited when I pulled up. I saw some strobes going out. Oh, there's going to be some bridge action.
No bridge
And it was
action yet.
Escorts vehicles, yeah.
Looking at Tantramar events, there's actually like not a lot going on this week. And the one thing I was going to shout out, I got canceled, so I'm just going to skip it.
Womp
Yeah, womp womp indeed. I do have now. Usually we don't get too political on here, but it's a
No.
little bit of a political season. I don't know if you know here in Canada, we might have an election coming up.
Mhm. Yes, we can, like, I'm not afraid to acknowledge it. I just,
yeah.
People just aren't tuning in for that here on a Sunday night.
No, but one thing I want to point out, because it's not even just important to me, although it is very important to me. It's, I think, quite important just to the station in general. We have heard Pierre Polyev over the last probably year and a half talk about defunding the CBC. And we've talked about it on here before, actually, and that if the CBC is defunded, it's going, a lot of more pressure is going to be put on community radio like ourselves to actually do, real journalism. Like we would have to go out of. We're not journalists, right?
No.
Like we don't know anything.
Sure, they should have allowed us on the radio.
They shouldn't,
but
at all. So I'm very passionate about having real, honest to God journalism still here in Canada. And one of the things in that is funding the CBC. I know there's a portion of the population that truly believes that CBC is propaganda. I don't believe that. I don't think that's true.
But I think even those people, if they're listening to radio or community radio or any type of local news, would realize that, like, having professional journalism is a lot different than having amateur journalism.
Yeah, exactly. And I would hope so.
And that CBC, are for better or for worse. Like, I mean, you look at a lot of places in the territories, a lot of places in Royal Quebec, a lot of places, heck, even in New Brunswick,
northern New Brunswick, especially
over the years. But it's like it doesn't make sense for a commercial entity to exist there.
No, it doesn't.
And community radio stations, for better or for worse, are a really, really, really tough thing to run.
Yeah, they are. Like, this is not easy for people to do. Like, literally, CHMA is a lot of work for a lot of volunteers. I think people understand that. Mark Carney, I don't know if you heard of him. We haven't talked about him at all. We've talked about Justin Trudeau quite a bit, but we have a new prime minister that we have not mentioned on this show yet. Mark Carney today actually announced that we expect that in the coming years, we will continue to increase the funding until it can compare to that provided by other public broadcasters. He is specifically talking about public broadcasters in, UK, France, and Germany.
Mm-hmm.
And it made, when I was reading this is an article on CBC. When I read this, it made me think, like, you know, how many incredibly influential Canadian, let's just say, shows are there? And like Corn and Gas is the first one I think of, Red Green Show. But do they have, you know, a big impact on world culture, you know, potentially? And then I look at like the BBC, which is really one of the greatest public broadcasts, maybe the greatest public broadcaster in the world, and all the incredible comedies, as well as you know, dramas, documentaries, even like soap operas and just news that comes out of the BBC is incredible. And Mark Carney, of course, was the head of the Bank of Canada for a while, and for quite a while, head of Bank of Britain. And I don't hate that he saw the BBC and went, "This is something we need in Canada."
Yeah, and I would think even more so, because and this is a point I probably discussed it here with you on the show. But it's like Canada. I don't know how else to say it. It's real big.
It was the second biggest country in the world.
You know,
it's huge.
We're big, and no one's here.
We're so sparse. We mentioned on the show that there is more people in California than in Canada.
There is. Or, you know, if you want to flip the other U.S. comparison that I use all the time, at any given time we have the same population in Canada as New York City.
That's correct. Yes, that is correct. Yeah, 100%.
You know, it's one city. It's very close.
Yeah.
So it's just, in my opinion, CBC and again, you know, I'm a fan of the CBC, but not a fan of everything the CBC does.
Yeah, it's not perfect. And
in a country that is so broad and has so few things that tie us together clearly from coast to coast.
Yeah.
You can't argue the impact the CBC has had.
No. And is the CBC perfect? But no. But does that mean we should completely slash it? No. What it means is we should reform it. And a part of reform might be adding $150 million to it, which is what Carney wants to do. That's not actually even the part that I was interested in. That's kind of how the article starts. The part that strikes me is in the middle. Carney also said, and funding of the CBC and Radio Canada would be made statutory, meaning any changes would have to be approved by Parliament, not just by government cabinets. Canadians themselves and the entire Parliament must decide on the future of Radio Canada and the CBC, not ideologies. And that I'm a fan of. I've been very clear about like me not supporting Pierre Poilievre's stance on the CBC. And I think that Carney is right, that more Canadians need to have a voice in this, and it can't be just a single party's whim to completely gut the CBC and make it a non-entity anymore. I understand Conservatives and Pierre Poilievre's position on that as well, especially with massive bonuses going to CBC executives. But again, this is things that can happen in structural change, not things that are going to change if you just cut everything. Every time any company, be it public or private, cut a whole bunch of stuff, the bonuses are still at the top, right? And that's for better or for worse. The people at the top, all the CEOs and all those people work very hard to, get whatever merger goes through. I'm not saying that those people don't deserve the money either. But what I am saying is the impact culturally that the CBC has, I think is so important to this country, and I think can be even greater. And looking at something like the BBC as a guide is a wonderful idea. So that's my news. News is probably like the most actual news we've done here in a while.
It was good. It was fairly opinion based. It's more like what's it, like a letter to the editor?
Yeah, that's fine. I'm fine being
still happen?
I think so. But who reads who reads print anymore? My mother does. God bless her. Love her.
Yeah. I think it's a kind of a demographic thing.
Yeah, 100%. Just like who uses Facebook? We do. Like no one else does.
Sackville's a pretty aged community.
Yeah.
So probably at least one person listening now out of the three reads some editorials.
Yeah, that's what this was, an editorial. Hey, we got stuff after news as well, right? We do some stuff. Do you wanna do gold stars?
I could give out a gold star, I guess.
Okay, what's your gold star?
I'm giving it out to the maple syrup producers.
Yeah.
Who doesn't love a little maple syrup?
I know. Hey, we're planning us and our some of our friends, including air traffic controller Dan. We're looking to go to look at some maple syrup there tomorrow, and my wonderful, beautiful mother. What? That was weird. I called my mom beautiful. I'm going to cut that out. I'm just
That's
actually.
Okay.
Yeah, you know what is okay. Wonderful, beautiful mother. I'm not cutting that out. Good for her.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna go see some maple syrup tomorrow. Do you mind? I'm giving out a second gold star to someone.
Ooh.
I'm giving it to that Jamie guy again.
Oh yeah.
So I forget if it was me or you who gave it that Jamie guy earlier. But every once in a while, I'll just get a piece of mail. And it'll be like that Jamie guy with like some candy, or that Jamie guy with something I always just like, oh, this is wonderful and I need this right now. So I forget what piece of mail I got recently that was from Jamie Smith, that Jamie guy realtor. And I was just like, oh, this is wonderful. He's always great. He gives to so many local businesses, especially at Christmas time. I really don't mind shouting out that Jamie guy twice. So yeah, just whatever piece of mail he gave to me this week made me go, man, this man needs a gold star again. I know already got one, but man, dude's killing it. And he does great stuff for the community as well. Hey,
there you go.
I got some promos. I'm going to read 3 of them, and while I read 3 of them, I'm going to leave some space at the end for you to read one of them. How does that sound?
Oh, it sounds great.
Perfect.
Hit it.
Okay. Right after this, at 7 p.m. here on CHMA, we have Under the Needle. Just kidding. That's what it used to be called. It's now called Live on KEXP. Bringing you the very best of KEXP's world-renowned live in-studio and remote performances. Each week, they'll be bringing you a new live session from an emerging artist or a well-established act that spans styles, genres, and cultures. They've had everyone like Macklemore, who's still in the news, doing God's work out there. Florence and the Machine, Of Monsters and Men, Arctic Monkeys, one of my favorite Brit rock bands of all time, King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, Portugal the Man, who's coming right here to Fredericton for Harvest Fest, right?
Yeah.
We got Robert Glasper Experiment, if you love a little bit of weird jazz like I do. Fleet Foxes, The Hives, Father John Misty, Kamasi Washington, talking about a little bit more jazz there. Talking about Canadians, we got St. Vincent, Purity Ring, Tegan and Sarah, Jeremy Dutcher, Sloan, Elephant Gym. You can check them out all at kexp.org. Right after that, nothing about Elephant Gym this week. Usually you try to...
No, there's nothing new to say about Elephant Gym, man. You're trying to place them in the It's just, you just got to let it go.
Do I, though? It's still in my notes.
No, I need to let it go.
You need to let it go. That's fair. Right after that, Sundays at 8 p.m. right here on CHMA, we have Black Atlantic, a primarily Black Atlantic-centric podcast, website, and media channel with the goal of bringing Atlantic POC voices to the world. Hosted by Clinton Davis and Hilary LeBlanc, the hardest working people here at CHMA. Black Atlantic is a social purpose organization focused on providing platforms of perspectives towards the diversity of being Black in Atlantic Canada, while challenging common stereotypes. You can check them out at www.blackatlantic.ca, follow them on Spotify, and visit their YouTube page. What do we got? The night.
We've been.
What?
Go ahead.
We got the night shift with Luca Capone.
You never know what you're gonna get with Luca Capone.
You never know what you're gonna get with Luca Capone. Fervently supporting diverse, adventurous artists and musical genres, from psychedelic jazz, experimental hip hop, tropicalia, to music concrete, with a heavy focus on Canadian independent artists that can be heard every Sunday at 9 p.m. on CHMA. What do you got?
Have you ever been up at 5 a.m. with hair traffic controller baby?
I have, yes. Yes, I have.
Sundays, man. He's going to get you up early. You know why?
He
Starting at 5 a.m.
Yeah.
We've been slacking on this front.
Mm-hmm.
You can tune in and start with Wilson Moore's bluegrass favorites.
Yeah, we haven't. We have no Mandos on recently, eh?
But don't worry, if by 8 a.m. you still have not had sufficient bluegrass in your life,
Is he double up?
You can then get the Bluegrass Jam with Wilson Moore. Another 2 hours.
Wow, that's a ton of bluegrass on a Sunday.
It's so much.
I love it.
And really, if for some reason, I was going to say horrible reason, but maybe it's not a horrible reason.
No, not at all.
Maybe it's just a reason that you have to be up early on a Saturday. Maybe you're just an early riser.
No, that does sound horrible. I think you're... Ow! Air traffic control wolf just bit me. I think you were right the first time. That does sound horrible.
Okay. Well, for whatever reason, if you have to be up real early on a Sunday, bluegrass might bring it around.
100%. Love that. Hey, thank you for listening.
Thank you to CHMA for hosting us.
Yeah, and
existing.
Us. Check them out at chmafm.com and CHMA on all the socials. Don't even look for us on the socials. Get off social media.
Send us a letter.
Yeah. Snail mail.
An email will accept, but
if you just write the letter out to Midgic Airport, it actually will get to us. I'm sure of it. Also, you can email us if you really want to reach out, atc@midgicairport.com. That's ATC for air traffic controller at midgicairport.com. But yeah, get off social media. Do something better with your life.
Read a book.
And buy social media.
To 5 hours of bluegrass.
Listen to 5 hours of bluegrass. Get off Reddit. That's social media. What else is social media that people don't think is social media? TikTok. That's social media. Get off that.
Yeah.
You know, YouTube's fine, kind of, if you watch a little bit of it, but not too much of it. You know. I learned about a new social media today called Band Lab.
I assume that's music based.
Yeah, and I don't get it.
Not like watch bands.
No, I don't get it, and I'm not going to get it. I refuse to get it.
don't get it, man.
I'm not. Social media is bad. Finally, if you miss an episode, you can catch us anywhere you get your podcasts. Signing off.
Have a great night, folks.